Frank Kitchen's complaining about something there, by the looks of it.
He's played a bad ball. Well, that was a terrible end.
18-15.
Oh, he's just counted 2 bad balls. Thrown the mat down, Kitchen.
He's not a happy man, Harry, by the looks of it. He's not happy.
No, I don't know what happened there. He seemed to get a bit annoyed with somebody, or whether it was someone in the crowd, or something that Vernon Lee did, perhaps. I don't know. I think maybe it was a point in the green, perhaps something that was stuck up in the green. Played one. Going like a bomb, this.
Ward on its way, but that's not going to do anything.
It's such a brilliant game up to now, Kitchen, and lost his length. I think Lee has been very, very intelligent in playing this game. He's switched the marks about on the green. He's altered the length, altered the land, played some difficult swinging marks along the edges, and elected to go a long way in the corners.
This has a chance.
Got a run to win. May have left a double. Kitchen doing an old Lancashire measure here, putting his feet in. 2, 3. 3 and a few fingers. 1, 2, 3. Watch him now. And Lee's having a go, not to be outdone. Fresh feet might find a fresh measure. Almost 4 dead on.
Vernon Lee's got smaller feet, we know that.
I hope he hasn't got odd feet, because if he does, he'll get the wrong measure at each end. Only one.
19-15.
Lee, a chance now of going into the Waterloo final. He wants 2 shots for victory and has played a very good ball. He's got Frank Kitchen, number 8, also a Lancastrian, under some sort of pressure, but Kitchen has all won this end. Might have just gone. Both Joe Rawcliffe and Lee certainly pointing at Lee, but it doesn't say that they'll take Joe Rawcliffe's decision as gospel. They're pretty close, and Frank Kitchen's not satisfied. He's going having a look at the end. Not only having a look at the end, Frank Kitchen, who you see there, number 8. Looking for the other Lee, trying desperately hard to make it a double. Could well lie game here. Looks an odd angle at that end. Lee knows he's stood with a chance of going into the final. Difficult mark to strike at straight peg. It's down in the bottom. Can't come any higher. He's done the back ball. He's weighed in. Lee counts the double. Goes into the final.
Second finalist, Vernon Lee, Waterloo.
Gets a place in the final, beating Frank Kitchen 21-15. A great game where Kitchen had set the early pace and Lee came back at him, got in front at 16-15 and then broke out to win a real good semi-final, and now he goes on to play Glyn Vernon from Winsford in the final.
So Vernon Lee the victor in that second semi-final, 21-15 against Frank Kitchen, and now we know who the finalists will be in the Waterloo Handicap for 1980. Vernon Lee, perhaps rather confusingly, will play Glyn Vernon. Mike, your thoughts on that second semi-final? Quite an interesting game.
Oh, another very good game there. This time you've had the reverse situation applying, where the player who went in the lead early on was caught by Vernon Lee, and then Vernon Lee's played exceptionally well at the end, down the edge, to run out at the end a comfortable winner.
Nobody will deny that Vernon Lee played very well towards the end of that game, but I think we ought to talk about his rather curious style of following and dancing and putting his feet over the woods. Do you think that influences the other player?
I think it can be very off-putting for his opponent, especially when Vernon Lee's playing very well. You can be standing on the mat wondering where on earth his bowl is, because you can't see his bowl for Vernon's legs dancing either side of it. Joe Rawcliffe, the referee's obviously decided to let it go.
Well, we can't let the occasion go without being able to have a look at some of this fancy footwork that Vernon Lee displays.
Yes.
It's something, I mean, you see quite a lot of action on a bowling green, but nothing quite of this nature.
He usually does it when he knows he's played a good wood. Perhaps one that's just trickling up to the jack, as here, and then he'll go across it now.
You see, it looked almost on that picture as though he kicked it, which of course he didn't.
No, I don't think he would. Well, he certainly wouldn't consciously ever touch one. And Joe Rawcliffe, I think, has been watching closely for that.
What happened to Frank Kitchen in that game, would you say? Because it looked towards the halfway stage as though he was doing well.
Yes, I think effectively Frank probably played bad bowls for about 5 minutes and no more. Just when Vernon had caught him, then there were probably 2 very bad ends that Frank played, especially where he played short.
Well, this is probably an example of the way in which Frank was beginning to let the game slip away from him, standing at 13-11, and until then he'd really been doing most of the playing.
Yes.
Although, in fairness to Vernon, we must say that he was getting back into the game.
Vernon's come down into the corner. And again, he's probably would have gone perhaps 4 foot past the jack, but he's taken the jack here. And I think Frank, in memory, plays a bit short with his first wood.
This is Frank Kitchen's wood on the way after that good lead by Vernon Lee.
Yeah. Now Vernon plays another good bowl. Here to lie in with 2, so he now lies to be 13 all, and considering he's been 4 or 5 points behind, I'm sure Vernon would be thinking, good, you know, I've just about caught him now.
Looking forward, in Vernon Lee's case, to taking the lead for the first time in the game,
Indeed.
which happened a bit later on.
Indeed, but Frank, of course, plays a wonder wood here. Just picks out a perfect length at full corners, best part of 60 yards, takes 2 out, and it's 14-11 instead of 13 all.
But there's the victor in the second semi-final, Vernon Lee. Congratulations, Vernon.
Thank you.
You've just seen some recording of the style that Frank Kitchen was showing fairly early in that game.
Yeah.
Were you a bit concerned at that stage?
Not concerned with his play, I was concerned with mine. I wasn't playing very well at the time.
What were you doing wrong? Why weren't you happy?
Well, I wasn't getting a length, and I just hadn't settled down for the moment, you know. But my experience thought, well, if I can catch him in the teens, I'm halfway there.
We can have a look at points in the game. Quite an important point from your point of view, obviously, because it stood at 14-11 at this stage.
Yeah.
There it is, and there's
He leads out
Frank
here,
Kitchen.
I think, and makes a good lead.
Yeah, 14-11. Well, to me, that wasn't a good lead on the short length. I'm just watching, so I can't remember what happened.
I think you play to reach it, and perhaps you just trickle out.
Oh, I trickled out, that's correct, yes.
And this, I think, is where probably Frank would not be happy with his play. I think you'd feel Vernon, he should have been getting another here.
He should. He'd nothing to lose, really.
Because if he doesn't get another, knowing the way you play, you're going to be playing through at it, with a chance of making 2.
But this goes very, very short.
Yes, well, my idea now is to play through and make 2, which I think I did.
Play a perfect wood.
And you change your peg, don't you?
Oh, yes, change the peg, yes.
Your hands go up before it's hit it, I think. Good ball.
Well, it was a good ball.
clearly one of the important stages. That was another way where you counted 2, and until quite late in the game, you were counting 2 more often than you were winning by a single.
Yes, I felt that where I went down the edge, I was trying to make for that before that because I'd practiced on that mark, and it's a very deceiving mark. And Frank being a little bit keener than me, I felt that he'd be struggling on that particular mark, and I think I did get 1 or 2, but he did come up with a good bowl. I don't know what the score was at the time.
We've talked rather a lot before you came here, Vernon, about this footwork, which you are by now famous for, obviously. Now, causes something of a controversy because, I mean, it suggested that it sometimes might put off the opposition. It might be a bit of gamesmanship.
Well, I don't think it's for that at all. I think the players don't bother. I mean, anybody can do anything that's playing mean. So I think it entertains the crowd. I think the game needs a little bit of, you know, showmanship, if you know what I mean. It's not to put the player off. I have always done that to an extent, but not as much as I've done it lately.
Do you do it because you need to do it, or because you want
yes,
to entertain?
I feel I have to do it. And of course, the crowd like it, and I feel that they're on my side. And it's, you know, if they're on my side, that's halfway to the battle.
Do any of your opponents ever say anything to you about it?
Very rare, very rare. If they did, I would keep away.
Because there was one point in the game where Frank seemed to be complaining over on the far side of the green there. Now, it wasn't clear to us what he was complaining about.
No,
I think you were playing down the edges.
Yes, he said something about for the referee that it was bad delivering in that particular corner, which it is actually. So like I had an idea that he was liable to play a short.
Did the referee have a word with you about that?
No. No, Joel was very good. He never said
because
anything.
you played one earlier that was hanging on just by a blade of grass on the edge of green.
Yeah.
Well, this was the end. We can have a look at it in a couple of seconds. That Frank seemed to be complaining about. Now this will be your lead.
Yeah.
Playing down the far edge.
Yeah.
You played a fair lead here.
Yeah.
I think probably when you went there, Vernon, you'd be hoping that Frank would play short, because he'd just gone perhaps a shade further than it looked.
Well, there again, you see,
he hasn't got his wood away
No,
clean.
he's bad delivering in that particular corner. That's why I always play a yard over it, coming from that corner. I practiced on that side, and I feel that you can afford to put a yard in it, you know.
You play a second which isn't quite as good as your first. And again,
Frank seemed to be a bit upset at that stage, and really, in many ways, he never recovered his composure.
No, I think he was. Before again, he's not happy with his delivery. You know, and I felt there on the side of the green, it is really nice for delivering, but again, you've got to play a yard over down that side.
Now, having got in front at that late stage of the game,
I felt I had it won then, actually.
you felt in no danger at all?
Well, there's always danger, but in my own mind, once I'd gone in front, I thought that was it. After being liable to be a long way behind, I think it was about 10-5 or something like that, and I felt once I'd gone in front, the pressure would tell on him more than me.
I'll tell you what, when you walked in here, you were perspiring. I suppose you might have
I'm always like that.
Lost a bit of sweat up into this final end. We can see the final end coming up, and this is the one that you'll remember, well, certainly until the final starts anyway.
Yeah. Well, I played a good ball, and he was very unlucky. You'll see his second ball come up now, and he went through the gap and just went out.
it doesn't look possible for him to go through the gap here round peg, does it, Vernon?
I thought it was short, actually, and of course you've got to follow it and see what's happening, and then of course he goes through the gap and just goes out, actually.
I've got to say that Frank was unlucky with that one, really.
Yes, very unlucky, but my second ball, I thought, well, I'm not knocking him in, I must play a tendency to be short, but probably I can get one, you know. Frank asked me who was in at the time, as we passed, he did ask me who was in.
But he went up to have a look, didn't he? He went to make sure.
Well, it had gone out.
Perhaps he didn't believe it.
He couldn't believe it, no, I don't think he could.
There's lots of danger for you playing this wood, though.
I don't really play, I didn't know what to play, really. I thought, well, if I could get another, it makes it a big target, but then again, he's liable to get too late, you know. I thought, well, I must play short in the way of anything, but try and get another. But funnily enough, when he sent his ball and said he was striking, I had a feeling he could possibly do his own. You know, he's more liable to hit the ball, but it was possible to, and as soon as it was on the way, I could see what was happening. If you look at my expression as his ball's coming.
Perhaps he didn't really strike hard enough, could you think?
No.
'Cause it just dropped away at the end.
We might not see your expression, Vernon, as he
I see.
bowls, but
Yeah.
there was his attempt.
Well, I think you will if you notice I'm pointing to that ball. That was what possible could have happened. It has happened before.
And you were happy enough with that. So you're in the final now. This is the biggest thing in your career, I would think, isn't
I
it?
suppose so, yeah.
Late in the day?
Well, I'm 55. If I don't win it now, I don't know whether the opportunity will come again.
You said that late in the game then you were confident. Now, what about the final?
Well, I said before this time that if I could get in the final day, the experience would probably pull me through, but whether it will in the final or not, I don't know.
Did you consider beforehand who you would rather have met in the final?
No, I never bothered who I play. I never even came down the day that they made the draw. I didn't know who I played. I didn't know until I walked in the door.
Who's going to be the favourite to start, do you think?
Well, I would think I'm the favourite.
The favourite with the crowd?
Favourite with the crowd? Well, I sort of a favourite betting. But he played very well the first game. I think he played better than me. But that doesn't always, you know...
Would I be wrong in thinking that you respond particularly well to a large crowd like this?
Well, I played football and I wasn't a very clean player at the time, so I've been booed on the football field, so I don't see any difference on the bowling green. But funny enough, the crowd are all with me whenever I play.
Well, there's been nobody booing you this afternoon.
No.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah.
Good luck for the final.
Thank you.
But talking about finals, let's talk for a little bit about the 1978 final. That was something of a milestone, a historic second victory for Arthur Murray. They call him the man with the golden arm. One of only two men to win the Waterloo twice. In the final, he played Harry Smith.
And Murray now. 18-20 this match. Murray can't allow Smith any sort of rope now. Got to get out now, Murray. Needs three without Smith scoring. And he becomes the second man in the history of this 71-year-old sweepstake to win the event twice. Along with Bernard Kelly from Hyde, who did that magnificent double in 1953-54. Gotta keep going down the hill. Joe Rawcliffe signalling level. Difficult piece of land, this. Got to be far enough, Harry Smith. Run on. Won't get here. Short. It's a bad ball, really, from Smith. Here's Murray fighting for his life now, Murray. Only got to miss this ball. Only got to miss this ball, and he's played one. Stands for 20 across. He counts the end. Smith's got to produce a miracle ball here to get out.
You fancy him, Harry?
Oh, I don't fancy him at all because the pressures are enormous. He's got to be far enough, which he is. Joe Rawcliffe picking it up. Can he pick the jack up? It's weighed in. He's left Murray a double. Left Murray a double. What a match.
Well, everybody here is not on the edge of their seats. They're certainly sitting bolt upright because it's 20 across, and whoever wins this end becomes Waterloo champion for 1978. What a great final between two excellent players.
Yes, this is one of the best finals on record. What a match this has been. Seesaw back and two. Harry Smith always looking as though he's going to get out, Harry. Just pegging a few in front, and now's Murray coming with the big finish. Looking for a good lead. Got a lead one. Well, a live and let live ball. Liked it to have been a bit nearer. Smith likes this sort of mark, swinging peg. Far enough. Far enough. Might go down the bottom side. It's gone. And Murray's got to improve on that ball. But what a lonely place now Smithy's in. Stood on the mat. Better than the other. Better than the other. He's a yard ball, a dead length to lick, and he becomes Waterloo champion. Smith now with all the pressure in the world on his shoulders. The difference of being runner-up and great champion. It's nearly drawn it, this. He's short. He's short. Murray's won the sweep for the second time. Weighed in. Arthur Murray, Waterloo champion.
The 1978 Waterloo champion, Arthur Murray. Welcome, Arthur. You were champion twice, of course, in 73 and 78. Let's, if we can, just look forward a little bit to the final that we're going to see. What do you think is in the minds and the nerves of the men who are going to appear in that final?
I think Vernon Lee, of course, he's a very experienced player, ex-professional. He played on the panel for quite a number of years, and I don't think it's going to trouble Vernon at all.
So the way you're talking now, it would seem that you'd be tipping Vernon Lee, would you?
I think, yes, I think he's just going to pull it off. You know, I think he's a little bit more experienced to the occasion, and I think he's just got the edge on Glenn Vernon.
Have you been surprised at the standard of bowling we've had so far in the semi-finals? Because in some ways it's fair to say that the really big names went out of this competition before we reached the semi-finals, you included.
Yes, that may be true, but, you know, I think the standard of bowling is levelling out these days. You know, there's a hell of a lot of good bowlers about at the present time. People are entering competitions far more than they used to do, and it's improving the standard of bowling all round. I think the day has been perfect, of course, for good bowling. There's very little wind, there's a little bit of sun, there's a bit of grass on the green, and I think it's there for putting close woods.
A lot of people have been wondering, watching on television, about people running down the line of the wood, the sort of thing that Vernon Lee does, running very close. People have been ringing up and asking about it. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, we've had a lot of criticism and talk about this in the past, and I think Vernon's probably been a little bit fortunate to get away with it today, because this ground, the Waterloo, you know, they've always been very keen and very strict. They've stopped us running close to them, stamping, and we like to run, I do. No one likes to stamp a wood in more than I do, but here we've always been told, keep away from them, you mustn't go near your woods. I think Vernon's been rather fortunate to get away with it today.
Do you think briefly it does upset the opponent?
It can do. You know, I can only speak for myself. In that respect, it doesn't upset me. But I'm sure one or two players are a little bit off-put with it. It's, you know, it's waddling around the woods and blocking the view of the opponent, and it can be off-putting, yes.
Arthur Murray, I'm sure you're going to enjoy the final, along with the rest of us. You were the champion, of course, in 73-78. The one we have left to look at, of course, last year's final. So last year's Waterloo final, a clash involving two veritable giants of the game, and one that...
In Lee or Laith, they'll be holding their breath. Will it be his first victory in the Waterloo?
Well, this could be the final end if Duncan makes a very good lead, but Broadhurst has come back so many times. How can you write him off? Produce balls when Duncan's looked to be going away from him, peg Duncan back. Duncan got a mile in front, but this young man came right back on song. Here he is playing a ball, trying to find one, needs to find one. Oh, and he just cocked away on the other side. Duncan down again. He's 20, Duncan, don't forget, it's 21 up. He only wants one more to pick up this Waterloo title. Tried to play one in the road. Hopes to count the end.
So this is it, Broadhurst. This is the wood that's got to count.
Just be hoping against hope here that Broadhurst hits that short ball or goes through anything. Missed the lot. Far enough. Far enough. Watch Duncan here, watch him. It's gone out. It's weighed in, I think, Duncan. Oh, they don't know. Still having a good look at them. There's a serious face. He doesn't know.
He's thrown it away. He thinks he's lost it, Harry. Oh, the tension, the tension.
Joe Rawcliffe making a measure. You watch these lads when they peg these balls. A very important measure, this. Most important. The whole championship is poised on this measure. It's even measuring at the one at the back. Oh,
and he raises his hands and he smiles and
everybody's giving the wrong. I'm getting the wrong signals. Even the fellow with the pipe thought he had one.
19, 20.
The end of mystery.
Well, it was worth the trip up to Blackpool, Harry, just for that little end, wasn't it?
Brilliant, brilliant. I loved it because it was full of ifs and buts. 1 minute Duncan's up, then he's not up. Then Broadhurst has won, and then he's two, and then he's none, and then he's one. The title was changing hands there like nobody's business. Duncan got to find a ball. Waving it on. Found one.
That's a very difficult one to beat. That could be the 1,500 quid ball.
He looks a bit happier now, Brian.
Yeah.
He's got, again, the match-winning wood stood about 10 inches short of the jack. And Broadhurst now, last hole. Having a study. I think he got a bit disturbed there by somebody. Anyway, he's back on the mat now. Well, this is it. This is it. Crowd are telling him it's short. Second. They're still having a look. Broadhurst looking. I don't think he can look it any closer. I think Duncan's won this. Still not over. But here's the man, the best judge in the world. Just watch his face there, Duncan. He's having a long, hard look. Means that £1,500. Oh, he thinks it's worth the measure. Well, of course it is. It's worth about 750 quid, that's why. You're not measuring a pair of trousers now, you're measuring something about £1,000. Oh. And there's Les, the Bay Cup bookie. He's jumped in. Les, he's delighted to get in on the act. What a character that man is. Bay Cup Les. Even he's had a look.
They're all coming to have a look.
Who wants a measure? Another one gone on. I think we'd better put some double yellow lines around this end, Colin, to stop them all stopping. Two amazing ends here. The last one, everything. He's won, Duncan, weighed in. What a finish. Well, that's a remarkable incident there. Without playing the last ball, Brian Duncan wins on a measure, 21-19 against Alan Broadhurst.
Brian Duncan, the reigning Waterloo champion, but to relinquish your championship today, Brian, the kind of scenes that we saw at the end of that final last year surely indicate more than anything else the importance of winning the Waterloo.
Well, I think it's a marvellous achievement to win the Waterloo. I think if you ask any bowler to tell the truth, I think that's the one sweep they would like to win. And when you get to the last stage, it's like winning a sweep. And when you get there, you think, well, I've got to try and win it.
Why is that? Is it tradition? I mean, it goes back to, what, 1907, or is it the money, or is it the crowd? What is it about the Waterloo?
Well, I don't think it's the money, actually. I think it's just the atmosphere and the crowd, and everybody talks about the Waterloo as like winning the FA Cup at Wembley, and I think that's what it is, really.
Can you remember your feelings when you went into the final? Were you, for instance, more on edge than you were in other big occasions?
Not really, no. I just went in, relaxed, and I thought, well, I've got so far now, I've just got to try and win it if I can. If I get beat, well, That's it, I can't do anything about it.
Can we develop the theme of the afternoon's big talking point, set really by Vernon Lee, this running down close to the woods? Now, you're another bowler that plants his feet pretty close to the wood on its way down. You're an athletic bowler. What do you think about it?
Well, I think I like running after balls because it creates the interest, and probably Vernon's the same opinion, like, and if anybody says anything to us, well, we'll stop, like, but I would like to say rather here today, like, he's been a bit fortunate to get away with what he's got away with, really, because usually somebody jumps on you and says, well, you shouldn't do that. And
Vernon said the same thing as you did. He said that if his opponent said anything to him, he'd stop. Now,
yeah.
Is there this kind of understanding between opponents in a very, very big occasion like the final of the Waterloo?
Well, there is really. I mean, invariably here we usually get told to keep a yard away from the ball, and if we do that, well, fair enough, like, but if we go too near, you will get the referee coming to you and saying, like, very nice and politely, is just keep away from your balls. And the spectators usually give you a shout as well to keep away, so that's what you usually do.
Controversies apart, have you been impressed by the standard of bowling in the semi-finals?
Well, they've played very well. Both winners have played well, like, and I don't think Len played as well as he could do leading the block. But Vernon's done very well to, like, Vernon Lee has done very well to come back from the position he was in. Like, he looked illusion and he's come back and won it very convincingly, really.
Of course, when the semi-final started, Len Higginbottom was very well fancied. Arthur Murray, I think, said he's about the second, he rated him, the second best bowler in the country at the moment. Would you agree with that?
Well, he was very fancied to win this one today, like, you know. Apart from the second best, I don't know, really. I mean, there's lots of good bowlers knocking around these days, lots of plenty sweeps, and I mean, Arthur can't complain, really. He's won the Waterloo twice and won numerous other sweeps as well, you know. He's as good a player as anybody.
We're very nearly at the final. Can I ask you, as the reigning champion, who you fancy?
Well, I fancy Vernon Lee, actually, depending on how he plays. I think if he goes in the corners, I think he'll win it. I think if he plays the round peg mark down the side that he has been playing, I think, well, he might struggle a bit. So it's, you know, depending on how he plays the game, I don't know. I think he'll win it.
Thanks, Brian. We'll see. So, to the major event of the afternoon, the final of the 1980 Waterloo Handicap. Just to remind you, the contenders are Glyn Vernon from Winsford in Cheshire and Vernon Badger Lee from here in Blackpool. The commentator, Harry Rigby.
Well, we're all set now for the Waterloo final between Vernon Lee, who's a Blackpool resident now, and Glyn Vernon from Winsford, a Cheshire County star. And look at the crowd, they're all sat down now, comfortably awaiting the arrival of the two main contestants. Real full house here. The tickets are sold. They're on sale about the end of December, and they're all spoken for by the end of January. People outside here today, early on, begging for tickets. There's Vernon Lee in the arena now, waiting for the arrival of his opponents. And there he is, Glyn Vernon, number 5 on his back, from the Winsford Liberal Club in Cheshire. And the final now about to begin. They're now in the appointed place. A lot of people can't really understand this starting from the centre of the green. I believe it's a very old Lancashire tradition. At one time they used to have a sack full of jacks, and the referee put his hand in and pulled out a jack, and that's the one they played with. But they've got a little more refined these days. Jacks cost a bob or two anyway, Richard, so perhaps they can't afford a bag full now. Although, talking of money, we've got a first prize of £1,500, but these men on 5 across, Vernon Lee and Glyn Vernon, and it's Glyn Vernon to set the first mark.
So a marvellous occasion in the lives of both these men. The first time they've appeared on this stage in the final of the Waterloo Handicap.
Yes, you pick up a few extra titles, Richard, when you've been here in the final. They always refer to you after as him as get licked at final at Waterloo, or him as won it. Well, you alter your identity.
The names might be confusing, but identification is very easy. Vernon Lee, the man who's just fallen into the gutter. Glyn Vernon, the man wearing the maroon pullover. Vernon Lee in the cap.
Now Lee hurrying after this ball, but just gone. It might go off the green and leave a double. It's just stuck it on the edge. It's got two.
Glen 7-5.
A good start to the final for Vernon Lee.
Well, here's the Cheshire man. Made a cracking start. Got the maximum at the first end. Glyn Vernon. Lee, number 3. Hitching this ball on, trying to get it round the bend. It's one. Fairway short, but it's first. Keep going, Vernon. Keep going, and it gets against the jack. Good ball. Fell over the right way. Lee confirming he's only one. He's got to have a crack at that ball on the jack. Gone by. 1 to Vernon, taking him 8-5 in front.
Glen 8-5.
Vernon Lee still to score in this final. Three chalks in it.
Can't beat getting them on the card to begin with, Richard. They always say it's the chalks you get early on as wins you the match at the finish. And Vernon again making a good start in this match, as he did against Higginbottom in the semi-final. Not made a good lead. Running a bit sharp down there. He's got to miss this ball. It's gone a long way. It's got to run. It's got to run. Maybe short. Played a bad ball, Vernon. Lee immediately turns his peg round, comes in the other way, through the back door, looking for a double, and getting them. 2 to Vernon Lee.
Lee 7-8.
Lee Vernon there, number 8. He was just a little bit off course there. It might be a little bit of nerves coming into it, Richard. You know, he's played that mark extremely well, but he played a short ball and then one even shorter. And Lee stepped in for an easy double, which brings him very much back in contention. Now he's looking for a long way to winning this Waterloo title. Just about stick on the edge.
Lee's becoming a bit of a specialist at this. He's laying them very, very close to the edge of the green, as we saw in his semi-final.
Likes this ball. Likes this wood. Bent down. Very, very good ball. Short. Won't get here. Lee looking for the way out now in the corners. He's nearly been caught out a couple of times on the short marks, but I think now that he's made his mind up that he's going to go a long way. Far enough. Far enough. It'll have to stop. Gone. One off. one that's gone there. Won it for me. What a great ball from Vernon. Brilliant one. Plays about 65 yards there and plays the ball about 3 inches off the jack.
9-7.
Well, that was a wonderful ball, Richard, there. I think that they really set up with that at Winsford in Cheshire. He's always played at Winsford. I believe he started his early career at Wharton Cons, which is all very near to Winsford, and then the rest of his bowling life he spent with Winsford Liberal.
He's certainly a cool customer.
One again, Vernon. He's just run into the back of Lee's ball, knocked it away. Keep going and do some pegging. He's asking it, Lee, it's got to stop, it'll nearly go out. He's rubbed the jack the wrong way and left Vernon a couple. Oh, Vernon now opening up a gap, going 11-7 in front.
11-7.
So some shape in the early stages of the final. Vernon 11-7 in front.
Vernon electing to go down towards the corners, which may not be a good policy, but he doesn't seem to have been bothered about that, Richard. He's played a cracking ball.
Do you think he might prefer the short marks in this game, as he seemed to in his semi-final?
Yes, it could be that he's just trying to alter the land a little bit. He's only got one. Vernon's got one against the jack, you see there, and Lee struck. Oh, missed it. Gone out. One to Vernon. The Cheshire man.
Glenn,
forging ahead.
7.
Five chalks the difference. Glenn Vernon, the man in front, setting the mark.
And he's leading well. Not a long way off. Likes these marks. Glenn Vernon, renowned as a player that's exceptionally good between 30-35 yards. And now Lee asking this ball to do a little bit, but it's give up. I know that Glenn Vernon himself would be absolutely over the moon if he wins this title. He goes amongst the greats, you know, not really having lifted a major title before. It makes it all the better really for him. And Lee done the jack. A good ball there from Vernon Lee.
It's the kind of accuracy that Vernon Lee
8,
has shown
12.
previously in this competition. It gives him only his second end of this final. Falls up to 8-12. And important, really, that that Vernon Lee does something now he's got the jack, Harry.
Well, he plays the panel game for me, Lee, the pro game. He's attacking the green now, sending the jack a long way, trying to keep it on as near possible as he can to the edge of the green, leading a good ball and forcing Vernon to play at it. There's nothing for short here. You've got to be far enough. He's placed the jack really well, and Vernon in with a chance. Might just die this ball. It's tight and just cocked over. Both play together.
There's many a worse bowl than that will win an end.
Well, they look like two berry black puddings there laid together. I don't know whether they can give a decision on them. Up to now, they've not said with any degree of certainty that anybody is in there. They're both...
I think it's probably that man, the man with the wood in his hand now.
It'll be very interesting to watch this ball of Lee's, because it's got to be far enough and keep it on the backside. He won't want to touch the short balls. Looking for a good one. Oh, close. Oh, Vernon's played at the end. I'm wondering whether there's a chance he might be on. He's got amongst them.
But he's not really changed the both Woods bowled first by the two men. Now then, for identification, the Woods with the green spots,
Lee,
they belong to Glyn Vernon. The Wood with the white spot belongs to Vernon Lee.
Well, out at that end, you know, where the balls lay very close together, Lee might have been a bit fortunate to just count a single.
He's coming down the edge of the green again. We've seen him do this before.
Well, you can see his strategy now, Richard, of going into that far corner to come along this edge. He's hoping that Glyn Vernon won't find it. But for my money, could be off the green, missing the jack. Might stick it. It's won it. It's won it, that, no doubt. Oh, what a really good ball there from Glyn Vernon. Can't get here. Got to come down the hill. And it's short.
Glyn Vernon tried to make it two.
No, left it alone. Satisfied with one on the jack. Doesn't want to be too far. Could touch anything.
Glen 13, 9.
It's turning into an absorbing final.
Each player switching the marks. Now Lee back again. Played a cracking ball. But Lee trying to get it out. He knows that. He ran after it.
He's a confident, almost cocky kind of player, Lee.
Well, he's played a lot of bowling in his life, Richard, and it's amazing how accurate they are at reading a situation before it, you know, people have to wait till it develops before they can give a judgment. But he's like Brian Duncan, you know, they're very good at picking the pace up and the judgment of the balls.
Looking for a second.
Got to stop. Got to stop. Only one. Oh, Lee disgusted with that. He was confident he would have counted a double there.
Lee 10, 13.
Should have had a double, Vernon Lee, but he pulls one back. Into double figures, makes it 10 to Vernon Lee, 13 to Glyn Vernon. Vernon Lee setting the mark.
Disappointed murmur again from this packed house at the Waterloo, because they knew that that ball was too far, and Vernon not done a lot better. Still a good way off. This will have to run to win. Still going. Only just won it. He's not too far, he'll have to be stopping. Got to be stopping. Go a good way, can't go out. 1 to Vernon.
Happily sunshine in Blackpool for this final of the Waterloo Handicap. Somebody doesn't like it anyway. Oh yes.
Again, back down the middle of the green again. Played a length ball, about a yard away. But Lee now trying to chase this. Plays one. He's won it. Just cocked up at the side of the jack, about 18 inches. That's Vernon's wood on the right, Lee's in the middle, and the jack on the left. And
Lee
Vernon now played a short ball.
So Lee with the opportunity to fight back against Vernon's favourite tactics.
Again, he rubbed the wrong way. Oh, chance. Lee again missed another chance of a double there, Richard.
Lee 11, 14.
Well, there's Vernon Lee battling back 11 and Glyn Vernon 14. This game 21 up before they can pick up the title of the Waterloo champion and the first prize of £1,500. And after that there'll be a marathon payout by the bookmakers, which goes on for about an hour and a half, plus a few of the discussions and arguments about who's backed who and who should draw what. Vernon now just short. Run on. And a bit more. Missed the short ball. Missed the shot. Run into it. Now Lee's got a difficult task because he's 3 behind. But Glyn Vernon now trying to peg the end against 2 short balls, and the crowd are already condemning this ball. They're giving it no chance.
Now they're debating the merits of the 2 woods lying close to the jack. He's checking the odds.
Lee 12, 14.
Little bit of hesitation there about whether that chalk was on. Glyn Vernon electing to just slow things down a little bit. Had another look. Quite right. Stopped the game getting out of hand. He had a look. Likes it, Lee.
Now, if they do well here, these woods will all be in the shadow on that west side of the green. The side nearest the sea.
No chance, he's gone through the gap. Even Lee came up and had a look at that one. It's not his wood, but he wanted to just be sure that it wasn't going to interfere with the really good ball that he's just led in this corner.
There's Vernon Lee taking his time, wisely taking his time.
He won't be ruffled at all, Lee. He's a very, very experienced campaigner indeed. This would be a real rounding off of his great career at bowls if he could lift this title. I know that he's always cherished the ambition and wanted to be called a Waterloo champion, and here he is now in with a bit of a chance. Although he's trailing at the moment 12-14 to Glyn Vernon from Cheshire. And here's Vernon now with 2 balls in the corners to lick. And got to get past and win. Good ball. Cracking ball there from Glyn Vernon.
It draws the loudest applause from this big crowd that we've heard all afternoon.
And that's a ball that will go in the memory bank for the inquest, Richard, in the years to come. They'll say that that was the turning point in the game, because Lee stood to go 14 across there, and now he's 12-15 in arrears. Well, that ball meant 3 chalks to Lee, really.
There's Lee trying to pull it out of the fire.
Oh, he just jived round it and kissed up to the block. Vernon now got to do it again. Got to run and pass that ball, and it's one. Got a lovely glide off the bottom, and Vernon Lee, oh, not at all pleased with that. He thought the ball was too low and going out on the bottom side, but it just straightened itself up off the short wood and ran up to the jack. That was a cruel blow, really, for Lee, but it's all in the game. Oh, he's one off it. He's dancing on the green there, Lee. He's put 2 up, but he's only got 1, actually.
Now, that's the most remarkable thing that we've seen all afternoon. I don't think even Vernon Lee, seriously, in his heart of hearts, would have given himself a chance of taking that end.
Well, he got out of a fluke with another fluke there, didn't he? It was a double fluke end, that. He thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yes, Glyn Vernon says just 1. Just 1. But it makes it 13-15. Glyn Vernon, the man from Cheshire, in front.
This is where the pressure comes on now, Richard. Up to the teens, 3/4 way. These are the balls that count. Start thinking about whether they can lose or whether they can win now.
And suddenly the psychological advantage, I should imagine, swinging in favour of the man from Blackpool in favour of Lee.
Yes, although he's 2 behind, he's now starting to work a bit now, and he knows it's coming to the run-in, the vital time, the last half a dozen chalks. The pressure will be on, and it's an interesting point to see which one of them will go first. Tend to get a little bit nervy and edgy because the crowd are quick to to see this, and they're on in a second. Oh, Lee didn't take advantage there. Vernon now got to pull another one of these good balls out. He's produced a good few in time, but the crowd, they've already written it off. 1 to Lee.
This crowd, knowledgeable crowd, very quick to appreciate what's going on, very quick to appreciate the prospects, the chances of individual awards.
Oh yes, there's a million champions in the crowd. Everybody can play around the sides, you know. It's an old saying at bowls that best players in the world stand at the side of the green. They can all do it, but it's these lads that's on the park now that's got the task in hand, and they know the score. Very, very difficult. Just run into Lee's ball. Just getting past there, it would have been a great ball from Vernon. Lee again elected to come up this long mark along the edge of the green. It's coming in finger peg. That's with the bias pointing away from the crowd. Tried to pinch another there, but left it short. And Vernon now got a terrific task on here. Chance. Gets past the short balls, it can win. Is he narrow? Oh, he's run into it again. He played 2 wonder balls there, Vernon, and didn't count.
Well, the luck is going against Vernon. There's not much doubt about that. And it leaves the score at 15 across. So remember, 21 is the target. Nothing in it.
A little bit overplayed, Lee. It's interesting, Richard, to see that Lee has always come back to this mark, hasn't he, along the edge. He's hoping that this will carry him through. I think if he wins the Waterloo on this piece, he might put a bid in for it afterwards. I think he can roll it up and take it home under his arm, because he's persevered with it all the time. Not particularly good balls, but it's not an easy piece of land, this. Chances. Might go out. Still going. Still going. It stopped to length and won it. One to Vernon.
50.
Glyn Vernon changing his fortune.
Yeah, sets about a 30-yard mark, going as far away from this edge as he can. He doesn't want Lee to get him back on there. He's played a ball, live and let live ball. It's about 18 inches past the jack. Lee trying to play a good ball and finding one. Stop to length. May have gone out.
We haven't seen any corner to corner stuff at all in this game, have we?
I think Lee's got to be in his bonnet that he can. He's done the jack and made a double. No, he's gone out for one, but he's certainly made the other. Well, I think they're trying to play near balls on the short marks. Lee's elected to try and get out on the edges, and Vernon wants to do the honours bit in the middle of the green. They're both beating each other's leads, and Lee struck and missed the ball. Vernon now takes a 2-chalk advantage, 17, the man from Cheshire, and Lee 15.
50.
Run a good way yet, still got to go a bit yet. It's a fair ball. They're not easy to stop down here. They gather a bit of speed, and he'll have to be stopping Lee. He's done it. Another really good ball there from Vernon Lee. He looks tight. Can he miss this jack and go out? And he's gone out. Well, here's Glyn Vernon coming up towards the end. He must be wondering what he's got to do, really. Played a very good ball, got it nudged out, and Lee is going to count a double here. 2 excellent balls. And goes back, bang, back in the game now at 17 across. We can hear the bookmakers shouting now, I'll take 2 to 1. They've made Lee now favourite. We'll take 2 to 1. Playing 5 to 4 the other way. Might just go through the gap, but it's gone out, and Lee there waving his hand. I don't know what could happen here if Lee happens to be fortunate enough to win this final and the title. He could easily do a full couple of laps of honour and a couple of more dances, I think, before it's finished, because he's that type of character. Here's the ball, and you'll see Lee come bursting on the scene. There he goes, waving it on. but he's not put enough in it. It's 1 on. Vernon, he's got to count this end to stop Lee taking the lead. After the jack, through the gap, and he's made a double. He's picked the jack up, a beautiful ball. What a brilliant wood there from Glenn Vernon. Looked as though he was going through the gap, caught the jack, ran it on to make a great double.
17.
There's Glenn Vernon. He's got the chance of becoming the Waterloo champion if he counts a double. He's only 2 chalks off victory and leads a real toucher. A smoker, bang on the jack. Vernon Lee now with all sorts of pressure on him. He's playing up, urging the ball on. Short. Not a bad ball, but it's just died short. It's out of the way. Can Vernon couple up at this end and lie game? Still coming, and he lies up. Played another brilliant wood. Lee's got to hit these, he'll strike. He finished with a strike, watched the game, and he's done the jack and counted the end. Oh, magnificent ball. What a brilliant ball from Lee. Staring defeat in the face there, he fired at the end and ran through with his jack. Listen to the applause from the crowd.
18, 19.
As Glenn Vernon almost had his hands on the trophy there. Lee's only got to miss with that ball and go through the gap and it's all over. And they start again. Been a marvellous final this. They've been really close all the way through, and now it's Lee. Vernon Lee from Blackpool at 18, leading the jack. There he is, chasing this wood down, looking for a good lead, still going, it's roundabout. There's Glenn Vernon, the man from Winsford in Cheshire, only wants 2 chalks to lift his title. Watch Lee try and wave this ball on, but I don't think it can go out. It's up again, the jack, a good ball. Cracking ball there from Glenn Vernon. Really produced some fabulous balls when they've been needed. Certainly not shown any nerves. He's not gone under any kind of pressure here, Glenn Vernon. And now Vernon Lee. Got to do it again. The crowd are tipping this ball short, but it's still running. Not short for me. Has a bit of a chance if it can run. Give up. Just died. Now then, there's Lee. There's Lee's opponent, Glenn Vernon. The last ball in his hand. If he can make this count, the title is his. He's the Waterloo champion 1980. It's on its way. Could carry 1,500 quid and the Waterloo title, but he's played short.
Played 20, 18.
Well, the bookies are shouting, I'll take 3-1. They can mean that Lee has now been relegated to second favourite, and Glenn Vernon here, the man from Cheshire, who's appeared over 30 times to the Cheshire county side. Crowd urging this ball on, and he's led a good ball. Almost before it's finished, Vernon Lee comes up. It's going to go by, it's gone out. Oh, there's a spectator who's thoroughly enjoyed it. He's smiling. He looks as though he might have backed Glenn Vernon. Run on, run away, and a bit more. Nicely round the back. Now Vernon Lee on the mat, and he's asking if he's only one. I think this handicap maybe ended here with a strike, and he's fired. Watch the end. He's cut it out again. He's done the amazing again. This man Lee. How can they get him off the green? as a runner-up. He just won't lie down, this man Lee. They can't nail the lid on.
Lead 19, 20.
Glenn Vernon must wonder what he's got to do to get shut of this man, Vernon Lee, who can now get out and win the trophy himself. He's 19. He wants a double at this end, and he can pick the cheque up for £1,500. Everything that goes with it. Applause from the crowd, and a brilliant lead now from Lee. They're both after this ball. Watch Lee. Not a mile away from hitting the jack. He's nearly done it. Just gone out. Oh, brilliant ball from Glenn Vernon there, and shaved the jack. Oh, the match has switched right round now. Lee with one on the block, and they've got a ball apiece left. One of the best finals I've seen at the Waterloo for many, many years. Still going. It stops. Oh, it's two brilliant balls to beat now, Glenn Vernon. Watch the crowd, listen for the noise. It's on its way. Could be on the bottom. Is he on the top? He's put his hands up, Vernon Lee. He knows he's weighed in. He's won the Waterloo. A brilliant victory. Absolutely tremendous. Great final.
Lee keep off the green.
Oh, brilliant performance.
Lee keep off the green.
By Lee. He seemed to be out of it altogether. Two brilliant strikes brought him back in contention. And Glenn Vernon can only think what might have been. Brilliant performance from Vernon Lee from Blackpool. Here's the crowd now, and there's Lee. Bowls aloft. Waterloo champion, 1980. 21-20, Lee the winner. There's Lee, still got his arms up in the air, showing everybody the woods that did the trick. Really enjoying all this now, Vernon Lee, but nobody can say that he hasn't really earned it. What a brilliant performance from this man. Looked as though he was going to be second, time and time again. Still there, number 3. Enjoyed it, used all his skills that he picked up as 17 years as a professional. As some of his pals, no doubt they've backed him for a few pounds. Off he goes. Vernon Lee. Here's the last end. Once again, we'll see this as we pick up the last end. And there's Glenn Vernon with two great balls to beat. And Vernon Lee's acknowledged. He's the champion. It's gone in the gutter. A brilliant performance from this man Lee. A wonderful victory. One of the best finals I think there's ever been at the Waterloo. And Vernon Lee there, taking all the applause, going round. There's Glenn Vernon at the back, wondering what's happened. Looks dazed by it all. Happy punter there, no doubt. And Vernon Lee now here to take the applause and the trophy. The Waterloo Cup, and pick up a cheque for the £1,500 from Wilf Yates. He's the sales manager of Greenall Whitley. Now we'll lead over to Richard Ducking to do the presentation.
There it is, the spoils of victory in the hands of Vernon Lee. Vernon, congratulations.
Thank you.
That was a close run thing at the end, Vernon.
Yes, I thought I'd had it once, but I thought if I can get another one at the last 10, he's liable to be off the green, you know. He wasn't actually, but just one of those things. I thought I'd had it. I don't think I played well in the final. I was too erratic.
Rubbish.
You played well.
This, to you, it must be said, is a marvellous conclusion in some ways. Well, I'm sure you aren't retiring, to a very distinguished career.
No, I mean, I can carry on playing all the more now.
He wants the money.
What does it mean to you being the Waterloo champion?
Well, I think I'm in the John Player Cup, which again is very good, and I think I've had a lot of pressures on me this year with the boarding house, and I also have taxes, you know, so I can devote more time now to the bowling.
What about the entertainment side of it? I imagine you've enjoyed that, haven't you?
That's all right. I like it, and I think the crowd like
Here
it.
it is.
You know,
Here it is.
it's not to put the player off, it's all in good fun.
All right, well, thanks very much. Let's, commiserations, Glenn. It was a well-fought contest in the end, though, wasn't it?
It was, yes, very good. I thought we got it here at this end, but if it I played for two and it just went too far, and of course he got it out.
Tell me why we didn't really see any end-to-end stuff in that game.
Corner bowling, you mean? I beat him every time I went in, and I'm not going to take him then, am I? Really. So Vernon tried something else, didn't you?
Yes.
And you were trying to fiddle him down the edges again at one time?
Yes, because I think I practiced around there and I thought I had the edge, but obviously I didn't get as many as I thought I would.
Well, congratulations again, and we've got a great champion, Arthur Murray. Arthur, I'm sure that you watched that with considerable interest.
Marvellous game, wasn't it? Marvellous. Congratulations, Vernon. Commiserations, Glenn, of course. You know, what can you do? 21-20. Lifetime's ambition to win, and you get beat by one short.
You don't see many finals like that. I mean, you've been involved in one, though, haven't you?
Oh, I have, yes, 21-20, and I can feel very much for the loser, but it's great for the winner, isn't it, you know?
What did you think when he had a strike at the jack late on?
What a strike. Ooh, you know, £1,000 for a strike, great.
And another Waterloo champion. It's getting to be quite a lineup. Brian Duncan. Brian, a word for Vernon.
Oh, he's played well all day, really, hasn't he? And the final's been marvellous, really, especially from the television point of view. One person's lie up and the other man just come and knock the block up and count the end. That's everything marvellous.
Was it the outcome you expected after the semi-finals?
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, they both played well all day, really, so you expect a good final, and they both played their fall in the final, and that's where it's turned out to be.
A good game under good conditions too, wasn't it?
Oh, the conditions have been marvellous. No wind, nice day and everything, and the green's been lovely. So it's been nice playing on.
So what about the crowd? Do you think that they will have enjoyed it as much as we have?
I think it's been marvellous. They've all
Somebody over the shoulder says yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, what did you like about it?
Tremendous. Absolutely first class. First class game.
Did you come here with any preconceived ideas?
No, indeed. Well, no. Well, he wasn't here today, but let's face it, absolutely marvellous day. First class. First class. Yeah, it cost me money, but let's say this, it's been a marvellous day.
Well, we must, before we leave, we must congratulate the winner once again. That is a very handsome trophy, and you've got £1,500. You haven't got far to go home, have you?
Do you want to live?
So you're going to be careful with the money on the way home. Congratulations again, Vernon Lee. So, Vernon Lee is the Waterloo champion for 1980 after a marvellous afternoon's bowls here from the Waterloo in Blackpool. Thank you for joining us, and a very good evening to you.
It's costing you money.
Paul, come and do a picture.